Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We are with you together yet again with another episode of North American Muslim Foundation Senior Talk funded by New Horizon. I am your host, Athir Abbas, and we are in conversation with Mr. Jamal Khan today. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you? So, sir, please tell us, in the discussion today, we will be talking about your journey in coming to Canada and your struggles and the hardships that you faced, and how did the government of Canada help you as well? So please walk us through your decision of coming to Canada first.
Yeah, basically, as a young man, I had just completed my Bachelor of Commerce degree in Hyderabad, India.
Okay.
And so my sister, few months earlier, had come to Canada. So my brother-in-law was the Indian Air Force Air Commodore.
Oh,
he retired, and he had come as a young man too, because he joined young, 14, 15 years old, through the academy, Air Force Academy. Yeah, so he was still fairly young, but he developed some heart trouble and all that. So anyway, so he took early retirement as Air Commodore.
Right, wow.
MashaAllah. And Nizamuddin Bhai. So he came, and then he said, Jamal, you are ready. I wanted to go to England as it's a Vilayat Jana. That was a kind of fashionable thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have all kinds of brothers.
Right.
7 brothers.
MashaAllah.
And I was the youngest. So, I mean, I just wanted to follow their footsteps. And
For sure.
But he said that don't go to, come to Canada. So I says, Canada? Where is Canada? No, I'm just joking. But anyway, then I ended up applying. And at that time, there was no problem because they were looking for qualified young people. And my age was I was very young.
Okay,
young graduate. I was married already.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, 21. I got
MashaAllah.
Yeah, and they talk about challenges and good things, positive as well as negative.
Absolutely.
And when my wife and I, we went to Delhi for the interview.
Yeah.
And he said, Mr. Khan, Mr. and Mrs. Khan. So I got up. So he says, are you with your parents? I am Mr. Khan. What?
Wow.
Just a young man. And she got up. She is Mrs. Khan. So anyway, yeah.
That's amazing.
Then we came.
Right.
I came alone.
Okay.
Talk about challenges.
Right.
Wow. Tough time. But then again, alhamdulillah, I knew sooner or later it's going to be success.
Absolutely.
And alhamdulillah, it proved to be exactly that way.
MashaAllah.
For a few months, I had to struggle. Then I had to save up some money because she couldn't come with me, so I had to sponsor her again.
Wow.
There were certain challenges, circumstances that I had to pay for my one of my brothers who apparently had borrowed money from this gentleman who was in Canada. Only few people were here, and I came in 1970.
Oh, okay. Wow.
52 years ago.
MashaAllah.
One of the first ones, I guess, the pioneers.
Right, absolutely.
And so I decided, because every time you go to a function, he meets me, and Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jamal, you can pay for your brother and all that type of thing.
Wow.
I was trying to save for my wife.
Interesting.
But anyway, I said, okay, brother, I'll pay.
MashaAllah.
So then you realize, towards the not the end, but such a long journey, that things, karma, is a Hindu,
what goes around comes around, basically.
And all that. If you do something good, it will
For
come
sure.
back to you.
For sure.
So suddenly things started to change.
MashaAllah.
And then my wife joined me, and when my wife I sponsored, at the same time I applied for policing.
Okay.
A friend of mine said we don't have any police officer from South Asia, especially Muslim.
Wow.
So I was the first one.
MashaAllah, that's amazing.
So in 71, I joined policing, only within a year of coming to Canada.
So Tell us, please, like, did you have any issues with your education because you had Bachelor's of Commerce at that time?
Yeah.
So did you study here? Did you?
No, there was no need because right away when I went for the evaluation of my degree, they gave me, since it is a accounting, which
Right.
is considered like a professional.
Right.
So I got one extra year. The
Okay.
BA and BScs were getting only grade 12.
Oh, okay.
So I got grade 13.
MashaAllah,
So
that's
that was good
amazing.
enough. And I applied and they required only grade 12.
Right, just high school graduation
Yeah.
basically. Oh, that's amazing.
So it's a long story. 35 years I have been a police officer and plus 12 years I taught policing. So 47 years. So you can imagine in 20 minutes it's almost impossible to cover
Definitely
all
not.
these challenges. The job
Absolutely.
itself was a challenge for me.
I'm sure, for
Having
sure.
come from a different part of the world
Yeah.
where you spoke a different language, the culture was quite different. Although you learn English, English medium of a school and all that, but still my mother tongue was Urdu.
Right.
And is still Urdu. And so I can read and write Hindi too.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
So you're multilingual basically. You are.
I understand Punjabi very well.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Because I dealt with, like I said, 35 years, and we had a period from 70s, 77 to middle of 80, where the South Asian brown-skinned people were
Right.
picked on, racial problems. Like you won't believe, a lot of people don't even know that. But those who were here in 70s would know.
Right.
Oh yes. Almost,
This is what we would like to know, that right now we don't see as much of racism as that was there earlier. I think you guys are the pioneers of that, this idea that racism needs to finish off. There should be no racism first of all. So how would you say, like, you being a Muslim, you coming from India, Southeast Asia basically, and then coming to a completely government-oriented environment, which is policing. So how well were you able to adjust yourself, or even the other community members, not just Muslims? How did other community members were able to mingle with you?
It was tough, but then again, we were welcomed by the government with open arms. There was no problem at all. Later on, from people who started to come, not only South Asians but other races, including British, from England.
Right.
And then I guess she made a comment, and the comment hit the front page, the top news, as if it's something serious happened, that all Pakis are dirty.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess she was talking about her own experience, I guess.
Wow.
Anyway, so as a result of that, and I read it, I said, what the hell is that? Paki means clean. So it's a conflict there. Clean and then dirty. What the hell? Then I read it. She's talking about my community.
Right.
Yeah, the South Asians.
Yeah.
Basically. Because she didn't know.
Right, the difference between Pakistanis and Indians, basically.
Pakistani Muslims, non-Muslims and all that.
Agree.
So all up to a point, I guess, she exaggerated, but the news media, they sensationalize, they blow things out of proportion.
For sure.
This is the first experience, because I was a young police officer at that time. I joined in 71, and by 76, 77, I had 6 years of experience, and then suddenly things started to happen. Racial problems, fights, and trying to bomb your house.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So were you also under attack at any point? No, nothing.
No, nothing happened to me, because they were taking me as Italian.
Oh!
Yeah.
Wow,
really,
lucky you.
Yes, they come to me in a Greek area on Danforth. I was ticketing a person, and he came to me and he talking in Greek language. So I said, I don't speak Greek, so you should be ashamed of yourself. So I said, why? I said, because you don't speak Greek? So I am not Greek.
Interesting.
So he didn't want to believe that. And then the same thing happened somewhere else in the Italian neighborhood.
Wow, that's amazing. So
anyway, so I was lucky, I guess. Internally, perhaps they were abusing me, calling me names and all that, but not to my face.
Right, okay. Nothing in front of you, basically. That's amazing.
So I'm talking about the community. And I guess in a position that I was given, because the chief and all that, they decided to form a squad.
Right, okay.
To deal with racial problems.
Okay.
And I was the founding member of South Asian squad.
MashaAllah.
I had only 6 years on the job.
Awesome.
Talk about challenges.
Yeah.
You see, and I was still in the process of learning policing, and suddenly this big challenge came. So I was told by my staff sergeant, who I became later on in life, mashallah, and retired. And he says, Jamal, chief wants to see you. You speak the language, right? So I said, yes. And you understand the culture? So I said, yes. Because there was nobody else.
Right.
I was the first Muslim, first South Asian.
MashaAllah.
There were other South Asians, if you call them brown skin, but from Kenya, Uganda.
Oh, okay.
They didn't speak the language.
Obviously.
But their ancestors were from India.
Right.
Anyway, so talk about challenges again. I had to go in front of the chief and the deputy chiefs and all that.
Wow.
And I'm constable because the ranks are different.
Yeah.
Constable is a police officer.
Right.
Who drives around, he responds to your calls and arrests and submit all the paperwork to the Crown Attorney so that they can proceed in court and all that. So you don't have like constables like back in India or Pakistan. There's the constable concept is quite different.
Okay.
Yeah, but here is a police officer.
Right.
Anyway, there are a lot of positive things, but negative things too.
Of course, for sure.
So because sometimes having been on the job for so long, having lived here for so long, you start to realize that there were a lot of injustices done in South Asia.
Not
here.
Okay, all right, Southeast Asia,
so when
basically.
You start comparing, so all the big positions like commanding positions were held by Britishers.
Right, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. So the secondary kind of low type of jobs were given to local people.
Right. Yeah. You see equality here, basically.
Exactly. And here I am, alhamdulillah. So on one hand, I'm glad all these things happen. But on the other, when you think about that, more and more opportunities now to think back. Because of what's happening in Pakistan and India.
Right.
Who had created that system?
Yeah, makes sense.
And why Pakistan was divided into
Of
two.
course. For sure. That politics now you understand basically very carefully.
And then you really feel bad about the thing. But alhamdulillah, personally, I'm blessed with a very supportive wife. At the time, when I applied, as I was saying, I applied to become a police officer and also applied for her sponsorship at the same time, within a couple of days. And I was a new Canadian.
Yes.
Only a few days. I didn't even get to see or stay with my sister because she was fairly new. And I just wanted the stop over for a couple of days. Then I went and stayed on my own.
Yeah, you explored on your own basically.
Yes,
wow,
yes.
That's amazing.
My brother-in-law, I remember giving me directions because I wanted to learn driving. Although I could drive, I had a license, international license, but I had to get that here. And one of the requirements to be a police officer was that
of course.
Yeah, so, and he gave me instructions. He said, Jamal, I'm going to show you which is north, south, east, west here. But also, but alhamdulillah, I think God had given me some sense to understand the directions in life too.
Right.
So when he was giving me the instructions, so I said, okay, these are the instructions I should use for my life, which way I'm heading. And and he was very encouraging. He said, Jamal, I was an Air Force officer for so long, and if you want to become a police officer, yes, you can, although you had the basic BCom, I was applying to banks and other places
Okay.
too. But my interest was with the police.
One of the police. That's amazing.
Yeah. And there was, like I said, we don't have time to get into how I became, what
what motivated you, basically.
What
wow.
motivated me. Went to a friend's brother who was a architect.
Okay.
And I was meeting him for the first time. They invited me and my friend, his brother. He said, Jamal, bring Jamal too. I have never met him, but he's from Hyderabad. So let's have dinner together. So as soon as I said dinner, but you can imagine I was a young man, a forced bachelor. And
homemade food would have been such a blessing.
So we went and had dinner with him. So the first thing he looked at me, I used to exercise, I was a boxer and things like that. So he says, Jamal, have you ever thought of becoming a police officer? I says, out of all the professions,
the police force.
Why would you say that? Because we don't have, and youth seem to fit the bill.
Right, mashallah.
So I said I would love it, because the first experience I had was in Germany, Frankfurt, on my way to Canada.
Okay.
When I met all these big
police officers
with light green shirt and dark green pants, and wow. So I fell in love with them, actually. And I had no idea the brother was say the same thing. As soon as, so he says, have you ever thought of becoming a police officer? So I said, no, why would you say that? So he said, no, we don't have any, and especially Muslims. So I said, I went and applied the same week.
Okay, wow.
And he said, how long have you been here? Because heavy accent.
Just a few days,
so I said, a few days. So he laughed. He said, are you kidding me? And you want to be a police officer?
Oh, sure.
What do you know about Canada? So anyway, so I said, and he said, get some Canadian experience and all that. So I pulled my diary. I'm from the old school of thought.
Right.
My older brothers and my parents, they had trained us.
Right.
Always carry a small
notebook for yourself.
Notebook and this pen,
right.
which I still have.
Wow.
So I took the thing, and he was looking at me. He said, what are you doing? So I said, I'm just making notes. I would ask you to please help me out, because guide me.
Definitely,
So
that's amazing.
I think he was impressed. He said, oh, okay. Like now we know it's things to do list.
Right, absolutely. The checkbox box that we have to check. That's
exactly.
Nice.
So he said that you need to get a license, and I would recommend that you get a security job, but not the industrial security. Home security, like high-rise building security and all that.
Okay.
So I said, okay. And what else? So he says, your qualifications, you meet the requirements. Your education, height, weight, and everything, fitness. So I don't really see any problem, but these are a couple of things, because you're too new, he said.
Right.
I said, what's too new? To the country.
That is so
these
true.
are some of the terminology people don't know.
Of course.
Right? Like getting fired. I thought someone shot him.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's okay. So I want to know about the time of pandemic. How was pandemic for you? And did Government of Canada aid you in any way possible?
Oh, yes. Because you see, after 35 years of policing, it's a big issue, the racial incidents and all that, and I retired in 2006. And then I was offered a job to teach police foundations courses, which I did for another 12 years, just before the pandemic. Nobody knew it was going to come. Right?
Absolutely.
My wife said 47 years of this, stay home, retire, come on.
Take a break.
I said, take a break. And so I said, okay, I'll do that. Just before the pandemic, I retired from teaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But would you believe just a couple of weeks ago, they called me again. They said, are you, Mr. Khan, are you still interested?
Wow.
I said, no, buddy, I'm really enjoying my retirement.
So just recently they called you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, because the pandemic is over, right?
Yes. So did you get any kind of government support during pandemic?
So what I was going to say here, that we had established a seniors organization called Peace Services. Peace.
Okay, Peace Services.
PEACE, Prevention of Elder Abuse and Community Education.
MashaAllah, okay.
We were the founding, I'm a co-founder of that back in 2006.
Right.
But since I was on the job and at the time I couldn't become, they wanted me to be the president, so I said, no, I can't. Because of the policing requirements and the rules and regulations and all that. And then one of the brothers, alhamdulillah, was asked.
Right.
He was really interested. So he became that. Then 10, 15 years ago, wow, time flies. Then after I retired, 16 years, after I retired, they came to me. They said, Jamal Bhai, you know, we want you to be the president. So I said, okay, I could do it. But so, alhamdulillah, that's what I'm doing.
Right,
I'm the
okay.
president of Peace Services, which is a Canadian charity.
Okay, and it is funded by?
Funded, it could be funded.
Okay, all right.
Because we have to raise our own funds
Okay.
by giving them the receipt and they can claim. And
Right.
That type of status we have.
That's interesting.
And our team is made up of Moise, he is the vice president.
Okay.
He works for Mount Sinai Hospital, a senior analyst.
All right.
And then another director is Fasih Masood.
Okay.
He is a director of CIBC.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
The vice president type of thing. Young people. Younger than me,
right.
obviously. I'm the only.
But learned people, basically, who can make a change in the community.
Oh, yeah. So
That's
I
amazing.
teased him. I said, you are actually the operational director. Because he does a lot of things. And of course, Moise is equally talented, qualified. And the people like that we have on the team.
Right.
We last year got New Horizon funding too.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
That's
so
nice. Wow.
Alhamdulillah, you just ask anything.
MashaAllah. So any seniors who have any issues, they can come to the Peace community, basically.
Peace services that they can call, and I can give you the website. And we have done the similar things like interviewing people. Brampton, since I'm in Brampton, we invited our Patrick Brown.
Okay, all right, yes.
We interviewed him, I did.
Right.
Actually, but the operational director was telling me what to do, Mr. Khan, so I said, okay, I'll do it. And then we had victim services.
Okay.
We interviewed her.
Right.
It's a Pakistani lady, a senior victim services coordinator in Peel.
Okay.
And I go back to my experience and my career. I was in charge of victim services and domestic violence team.
All right.
As a staff sergeant.
Wow.
Yeah, community services.
That's nice.
A lot of.
So you have just taken that a step ahead, basically.
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
I said, okay. I mean, Allah had all this planned. I had no idea that I was going to get into all this.
Wow.
Sometimes you wonder why the racial incidents. I became like a community or a service officer.
For sure, for sure.
And I said, I'm a police officer, but here I am dealing with the community. But he was planning all this.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
You know, I mean, the more you think about it, you go crazy. I said, oh, wow. Alhamdulillah,
that's amazing. So thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for joining us in our talk show. This was an amazing episode. You are a true asset, not to the Muslim community, but also to the other communities. Thank you so much, viewers, for listening to our conversation today with Mr. Jamal Khan and your host, Athira Baz. I will definitely be seeing you in the next episode. Till then, stay tuned, and you're watching North American Muslim Foundation Senior Talk, funded by New Horizon. Take care of yourself. Khuda Hafiz.